Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Slormancer video, I want to talk to you about this new indie action RPG that just hit early access. The game is reasonably priced over on Steam, and I'll have a link down below if you do want to check the game out. Let's go ahead and break it down and talk about some things that I really enjoy about this game and some reasons that I think you should not skip this game. First of all, as I mentioned, the game is in early access, so with that in mind, there's not all the content in the game. Currently, there is 1 act of 5 currently available. It took me about 4 hours to beat the campaign. I could have probably done it quicker if I wasn't just full clearing maps and taking my sweet time. Once you've completed the very first act, they direct you to the next act and then you're informed that, oh, that's not implemented yet. Instead, you can start doing the Endgame mode that is currently, I hope, the placeholder for actual Endgame, but it is called Expeditions. Slormancer's Endgame, the Expeditions, is pretty much an endless dungeon mode. You're going to be opening these breaches, killing all the enemies that pour out, and hoping to find a brand new Slorm Reaper, which will help you customize your character. Speaking of character customizations, that's one of my favorite parts of this game. There is so many options and so many ways to level up, progress, and really tweak your character. Loot aside, just character customization is pretty crazy. And they don't just throw it to you all right up front so you're not overwhelmed. You unlock these things as you progress throughout that first act. And unlocking each new feature as I progress was really exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, another layer of customization. And here's what they have to offer. The very first part of customizing your character is you should know that there are 3 classes available. You have the mage, warrior, and an archer archetype classes. And the dialogue and the way that the characters talk and introduce themselves is pretty cheeky. That's one little side note there, is the dialogue actually had me laugh out loud a few times. I went with the mage, and the very first thing that I unlocked was the passive skill tree. There's something like 8 different paths that you can actually level up. You can distribute points in as many as you want to, I believe. I went primarily into willpower. Since I am a mage, I wanted to have more mana and elemental damage, but you can level it up, and there's these little minor nodes, major nodes, and then the greater traits. But you can see it all in the very first note of what it all is. There's minion damage, but for me right now, elemental damage is definitely key for my build. But they're all like primary stats, but you can level them up and get extra perks instead of it just being, willpower straight mana. You get this other stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to level up. And here's what they all look like. I'll kind of mouse through as we're still going through here. One thing that's really interesting about this passive skill tree is you can actually put points in and take points out on the fly. You don't have to spend any money or re-level up or anything like that. They have this game very open in terms of respecing your character so you can mess around with different builds. I think it's definitely a smart choice. Next up, you're going to unlock your skills. You start out with a basic skill. I think the sorcerer, the mage, I started out with this arcane missile, and then I unlocked over here the ray of obliteration. This is my all-time favorite skill. You hold it down, it's a big laser beam, and it actually pierces through enemies. This is great for clearing rooms. But what's really cool about these skills is they have levels to them. As you use them during combat, you actually level them up. You level up your mastery and unlock these different tiers that you can invest your Slorm into. Slorm is the currency in this game on the bottom right that is used to basically power your character and boost them up. But as you increase your mastery, you'll unlock more nodes to use. One thing I noticed is each tier you can only have 1 node actually picked out of there. So some of these have 4 different choices to choose from. And some of the choices were not super easy to make. But yeah, this is going to be for each skill. On the sorcerer alone, I have 8 different skills and a specialization on top of that. The specialization is you can also switch this up on the fly, but each specialization also has its very own mastery level as well. Coming with a support skill, there's different for the sorcerer. There's one that slowed down projectiles that were being shot at me. If I ran through it, it would increase my move speed. Different things like that. Each specialization also has different key mechanics tied to them. So you have 3 classes, 3 specializations, and then each class has 8 skills each. There's quite a lot in terms of options here, and it doesn't stop there. On top of your character attributes, your skills, you also have what they call your Slorm Reaper. This is your weapon that you can find different types of throughout the game. These are separate from normal loot that you'll find throughout your journey. These Slorm Reapers are actually found from closing breaches that I mentioned earlier in this video. Each Slorm Reaper has a different perk to it. For example, I have one right now that does a lot more damage than the other Slorm Reapers, but the other Slorm Reapers have more abilities and things tied to them. For example, the Thorn Bite staff that I found gives me thorns when I'm standing still. Basically, the way that I view the Slorm Reapers is it's kind of like the endless collecting of the game. And you can only find these from closing breaches, so it's really nice to be in that end game and just kind of targeting those breaches to hopefully find more weapons to complete your collection. And on top of that, each of these Slorm Reapers can be leveled up. About everything in this game can be leveled up, so if you're using it, it's pretty much going to be leveling up. That was one of the things I wanted to mention with skills, is your skills level up to unlock those mastery, the traits, you remember? But so if you're not using the other skills, those they're not leveled up if you're not using them, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're like me and you just focus on the two main skills, I feel like if I were to play around with the other skills, I could find even more time to invest into this game. So on top of your character attributes, your skills, your Slorm Reaper, you also have the Ancestral Legacy. Currently in the early access version of the game, you can only get 7 different ancestral stones. You have to have 1 stone in order to invest into 1 node on this tree. At first, I thought this tree looked pretty big, and it is decent sized for this type of game. There are many options on this tree, and I haven't really dove in. There are different auras that you can get and active abilities as well. And they can also be leveled up by using Slorm in each node like that. I went with a freezing ice spell that was really, really great in a lot of situations I found. But there are many options here. I found some that would cater more towards if I was doing a melee build. But for now, we really only have the 2 stones, so it's kind of hard to really see what there all is within this Ancestral Legacy tree, I guess. That's pretty much it for everything with your character customization. There's loads here. It just depends on how long you personally want to keep doing those expeditions for. Like I said, it's an endless dungeon run. You can actually level up and unlock more monsters to fight within the endgame mode. So there's quite a bit there. For me personally, I'll probably get maybe another 5 hours out of the game for 10 hours total. But that's just because I know the nature of early access games. And I have other games currently that I'm trying to complete and play through as well. So I'll definitely be checking back in on Slormancer as it progresses through early access. I've really enjoyed my time, and I really, really recommend picking up this game. If you like the pixel art type of games and the hack and slash genre, definitely don't skip on this one, guys. One last thing I want to point out about this game that I found a little bit interesting, and this might be a minor spoiler, but I'll try not to too much. There are features throughout the game other than the character customizing, but like certain NPCs, for example, like the vendor. You don't find the vendor until later on in the game. And even when you find the vendor, you have to then pay gold to unlock certain features within the vendor. So there's definitely this nice feeling of progression throughout Slormancer, whether it be character customization options, NPCs in town, and there's a lot more NPCs to unlock, so I won't spoil it for you. But definitely check it out, man. It's like I said, right now it's on sale for $12 and something, and I think normally it's going to be in the $15 range. Super bang for your buck. And the combat alone, we're not going to go super deep on it. It's great. A lot of my skills felt very snappy and impactful and exciting to use. There were a few that didn't have very much AoE capabilities, and so I kind of swept those to the side and just used that ray ability that I was talking about earlier. Anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for this Slormancer video. I'm going to go back in here and do some more endgame, try out some other builds. I might level Archer, Warrior next. I'm not really sure, but that's going to be it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this review, impression video, whatever you want to call it. I've been waiting for this one for a long time, and I'm super glad that they've pulled it off. I mean, even down to the UI, it's just, the game is so great. Anyway, I could go on and on about the game, but I won't. I think I've said enough. Hopefully if you decide to pick up the game, you enjoy your time just like I did. If you enjoyed this video and all the content on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, or ring that bell to get notified when I post new videos. I also stream here on the YouTube channel, primarily on Fridays and Saturdays. Make sure you go to the upcoming stream playlist and hit those reminders so you can get notified when I do go live. Please feel free to check out our other social media links down below. We also have a Twitter, a small but growing Discord community, and Twitch that I occasionally use for pop-up streams during the week. I appreciate you all, and don't forget, your view alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.